What's up, guys? Going live with Daryl Scales here as soon as he hops on. We're going to talk about fitness, nutrition. We're going to talk about workouts, daily routines. I'll record this video and then post it to my YouTube channel later. If you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat.
Hey, what's going on, man?
What's up, Daryl? How you doing?
Not too bad. You still at the gym?
Yeah, actually, I just finished up at Gold's right now, so I figured I'd
Okay.
stay here while we're on the video.
Okay, what you work on today?
Today I did some upper body. I did incline bench, shoulder press, standing shoulder press, weighted dips.
Sounds like you got a nice little session in.
Oh, dude, yeah, I had a good session today. Hit some PRs. You lift today?
I did some cardio today. I'm
Okay,
taking
cool.
this week off from doing weights, kind of letting my body recuperate a little bit, and then
Yeah.
hitting the weight hard back next week.
Do you work out every day typically, or do you do like 3 days a week? What's your thing?
I do 5 days and take Saturday, Sunday off. Unless I
Mm-hmm.
just randomly might go on like a Saturday morning, but I usually do 5 days. How
So
about
right
yourself?
now I'm just going 3 days a week. So I'll alternate between like upper body, lower body, upper body, and then the next week will be lower body, upper body, lower body. So,
Okay.
but I used to do 5 days a week, man. Do you like doing that?
Yeah, it's just like my weekly routine. Like, I feel weird if I don't go in the morning. Like, so it just works for me. I like going in the mornings. I just go those 5 days a week, start off my day like that, come back, and get started with the rest of my day.
For sure. I used to lift in the summer times. I lifted in the morning, which was super nice, dude. Such a great feeling to lift in the morning and then like have the
Hmm.
rest of your day feeling great.
Yeah, yep.
But right now with my schedule the way it is, it just doesn't make sense. So I lift in the evenings. But I mean, I'm still able to get it in, and I don't mind doing it this way.
Hmm.
But I definitely respect that going in the morning. What time in the morning do you go?
I get up like around 7. I probably get to the gym like around 8. I work out for
Yeah,
about an hour, hour 15. Come back and do what I got to do.
for sure. So let's go ahead and get into the interview, man. So how long have you been into fitness, and kind of what got you started in all this stuff anyway?
Yeah, well, been pretty much an athlete my whole life. I started out playing basketball, then got a little older, started playing football, even played lacrosse at one point, ran track, so I did a little bit of everything. Ended up going to college for football, went to Hobart College in New York, played for 4 years, and after that, I kind of lost my way with fitness just because I wasn't forced to do it. I had no coaches in my face anymore,
Right.
making me do it. And then I started working at a gym actually, doing personal training and selling memberships and stuff like that. So I kind of started feeling like a hypocrite, not taking care of myself at a high level. Uh, so figured out how I could get it back into my lifestyle because I kind of felt like I was missing that,
Mm-hmm.
and began to work out and take care of myself. And ended up leaving that gym and began coaching. So I've been coaching since 2019. 2
Okay.
years in, I have my business Stay Golden Fitness, and started online coaching in 2020. So about to hit 2 years. It's crazy to say. 2022 is about to be 2 years strictly online, and excuse me, it's been an amazing journey.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Um, when you first started, um, getting into fitness, you said that you were into it a lot of because like in school and athletics and stuff. How much of a part
Yeah,
did that play into you like staying into fitness? Like, did you enjoy it when you were doing that? Because I know for me personally, when I played sports in high school, I didn't do college sports, but when I played sports in high school, I always hated practice. Like I hated the workouts that they had us do. I always felt like they were like really monotonous. Like they would take super long. They'd be like grueling. So I think a lot of people that are um, really into sports in high school will burn out because the practices suck so bad. So
Yeah.
was that kind of the experience that you had, or like, did you enjoy like those college workouts, those track workouts?
Yeah, so speaking specifically for like college football, practices definitely we had some days where it did suck. But with the workouts, they were typically like morning, so like 6 a.m. workouts, so that was not always fun. But when I did get a good session like out of season, we would typically do like evenings or afternoons, so a more optimal time of the day. It was just more fun to like compete. So I would say that was probably like the most fun part about it. Competing not only against yourself but the other guys you're lifting with, just trying to see your progress in that off season. So there's
Right.
obviously like pros and cons to it. And just because now I work out pretty much by myself, so I kind of miss that team atmosphere when you're getting a lift and having that energy,
Oh yeah.
music blasting in the gym, and like having all those guys around and stuff like that. So I definitely miss that part of it.
Yeah, you gotta like mentally do that in your head now, because I work out by myself too. But I remember in high school and even in college, I always had at least one workout buddy that I would go with consistently, sometimes
Yeah,
two or three. And it was always super nice to have like that hype man, you know what I mean, in the
yeah,
background.
yeah,
And it would really help you to get those PRs too. So like nowadays, especially now that you're working out by yourself, and I feel like most people as they progress into like their mid to late 20s and then going forwards in life, most people do start exercising by themselves. So like how do you kind of mentally prep yourself for like, okay, I need to be able to bench press by myself. Like if I don't have a spotter, I need to know like exactly how much I can do with squat or bench or whatever the exercise is.
yeah.
And how do you like I said, mentally prep yourself for
hmm
doing your best, even though you don't have anyone to like pat you on the back, essentially.
Yeah, well, first you gotta pretty much check your ego at the door.
Big
I
time.
know you really want to lift the heaviest weight you possibly could, but you gotta just do that within reason. You don't because obviously, as you know, like with a lift, you don't really necessarily want to fail in the middle of a lift. So you gotta just be realistic with yourself and where you are, and like I said, check your ego at the door, and
Yeah.
modify certain exercises. Like for bench, I don't bench super often, but when I do, I might use the Smith machine, so I have that safety net, or use dumbbells for like a bench, or make sure I have those safety bars set up on a squat, whatever the case. If I have to drop it off my back, so just keeping those things in mind. But yeah, I would say the biggest thing is really just checking your ego out the door. Sometimes you might have to lower the weight a little bit, or go just a little bit less until you're ready. So it does make it harder to maybe I could go a little heavier or get an extra rep if I had that
Mhm.
spotter. But just making do with what you got.
Okay. So I definitely respect that, Daryl, but my approach is a little bit different. For
hmm
example, so I have an iPhone, right? So I'll just use the notes on my phone and keep track of my PRs. And I even have like
hmm
the micro loading plates. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like the little 1.25-pound plates
Oh
that I
yeah,
got online. And I keep them with me. Like I bring them to my workouts. So I'll keep track of my lifts, especially like compound lifts, like bench, deadlift, squat, weighted dips, weighted pull ups, weighted chin ups. I'll keep track of those. So I only go up by like 2.5 pounds at the most
yeah.
each
Okay.
time. So that's how I know, like, okay, this is how much weight I can get by myself.
hmm
So I don't need a
Yep.
spotter. You know what I mean?
Got you.
And that way I can still do um, bench press with the bar and like squat on the rack. And I know that I don't need a spotter unless something like terrible happens, which like I hurt myself, in which case, a spotter is only going to be able to do so much if that would happen to you anyway. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So, um, and plus, just the strength gains that you get from doing those more difficult lifts, like the bench press, like the deadlifts, like the weighted dips, even if you're not doing like an absurd amount of weight for like, let's just say 3 or 4 reps, the strength gains and like the muscular gains, the size gains you're going to get from those lifts are going to be far superior to like the ones that you're going to get using the Smith machine and the dumbbells. Now, I do
Yeah.
love using dumbbells for especially the dexterity aspect of it. But I think your and my workouts are very different because, like I said, I only work out 3 days a week, and you said you're
Yeah.
going like about 5 days a week. So I'm assuming
Yeah.
you're like more volume based.
Yeah. Yep, so I do hit a higher amount of reps more so than doing like those 6 to 8 reps for strength and things like that. So yeah, maybe that is a little difference that we have in our workout approach.
Right. Now, let me ask you this. Do you ever notice, like, if you take a lot of time off, seeing that your workouts are more like volume based, do you ever notice that you'll like lose strength gains or lose size? Like, let's say you take a week off. Would you notice that you lost anything after that period of time, like as far as volume goes?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I've regressed, at least not noticeably. I would say if I was to regress, I would say it'd probably be strength first, and then I feel like the reason for that is like I'll feel a lot more of a strain when I come back
Yeah.
after some time off. Like, you definitely get a lot more soreness after taking time off, and that could definitely take away from some of your strength in that workout, things like that. I would say
Right.
that's probably the biggest area I'll notice the difference in, but not so much size or like the scale or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that to me sounds really familiar. And I kind of figured you'd answer that way because back in like high school and college, I used to lift like 5, 6, sometimes 7 days a week. Um, and I would notice if I skipped a few days, like let's say I went on vacation and skipped like 4 days, I would notice that I lost strength gains or size gains, at least from like the volume. Because, when you're lifting out, when you're working out that many days in a week, some of your volume is just like mass, like blood in your muscles that's making you pumped up. So like when I
Yep.
was working out, like 5, 6, 7 days a week, my arms and legs were the biggest that they ever were in my life. But like at what cost? I was a slave to my fitness. And some of that size was not actually muscle mass. It was just like water weight and blood
Yeah.
pump in my muscles. You know what I mean? And so if you can have the drive to go 5, 6, 7 days a week, I mean, more power to you, man. I mean, you can burn out like that, and that's what happened to me. I ended up burning out, and I
Hmm.
was like, there has got to be a better way to do this, which is why I transitioned
Yep.
to 3 days a week right now.
Yep.
Because what I would do is like, let's say in college, for example, I would go to the gym hard in like the summer times or um, like when classes weren't in session, so like over like Christmas break or whatever the case may be, and I would go like I said 5, 6, 7 days a week, and I would get these amazing gains. But then I would go back to school, and I would just totally stop doing it because my priorities were messed up. With whether it was partying or just being a student, I just wasn't going to the gym as much anymore. So I
Hmm.
would burn out and lose all my gains. Um, and so that's when after I graduated college, I was like, okay, there's got to be a better way to do this. I can't be going to the gym six days a week, every week for the rest of my life, and then plateauing and burning out, and then taking time off, binging, and then coming back and doing it all again. Like it's just an
The
unhealthy
whole
cycle.
roller coaster. Yeah, it's a whole roller coaster. That's what I call it when you go up and down, right? So it's definitely about finding something that really is sustainable for you. And it sounds like you have at this point going 3 days a week, right? So it is all about lifestyle and what's going to work best for you. So like you said, for me, going 5 days a week feels great. I feel great after my workouts. I've noticed, improvements in size and strength as well
Yeah.
throughout this journey, and it just works for my lifestyle. What me structuring the workouts that I do. But for you, you found out something that 6 days a week is a lot for you, or 5 days a week
Mhm.
is a lot for you with your lifestyle, and so you altered your workouts in order to fit that, and
Yeah.
still manage to get results. So that's what it's really all about: finding a solution that's gonna work long term for you,
And
and that's
so
definitely
that's
what I
kind
tell
of
everybody.
yeah, for sure. And that's kind of how or why I started this whole fitness thing in general because for me and for a lot of people that want to be healthier, they don't want to go to the gym every day of the week. They just want to be
Hmm.
healthier. And so
Yeah.
I got sick of seeing the like fitness magazines with like the mainstream idea of okay, you need to do like these bodybuilder workouts every day and take one rest day a week. And I'm like, yo, like if you're absolutely obsessed with your fitness and you want to go hard, like that is, that's go ahead and do that. But for the average person, it's just not obtainable or realistic and reasonable to continue to do that for the rest of your life. It has to be a lifestyle. And you found something that's a lifestyle and that's awesome. But for the average person, I would say 3 days a week is a really great place to be at. And then, like I said, if fitness is something that you're super passionate about and you want to go more than that, like by all means, absolutely, you can do that. But for me and for the vast majority of people, unless you're trying to have um, an outstanding physique, like a superhero, like Superman level physique, um, 3 days a week is good enough.
Yeah, I mean, for like the average Joe, or I call it Miss Jones, just getting up and moving is gonna get you results to begin with, right? If you're somebody who's really sedentary and hasn't exercised consistently in years or months, whatever the case is, even something as simple as getting up and walking is gonna be enough to drastically help you see a change initially, right? So I would say for any average person that hasn't had that in their lifestyle, just start where you are. Start with something, get up and move more often than you would. Do 5 push-ups on a commercial break. You know, 5 15 minutes to go for a walk on your lunch break. Park in the back of the parking lot when you're at work. So essentially, what I tell people, that's just starting out, we got to increase your NEAT. So that's your non-energy. Sorry, what is it? Non-exercise uh, activity thermogenesis. So basically, the calories that you burn when you're not exercising, all the
Yeah,
things you do in your daily lifestyle, start there, and that alone will help you see a huge increase and a huge difference in yourself, and build up. So a lot of people try to start here, and then they get frustrated, they get burned out, they get discouraged when they don't see the results that they want. And it's really important to just kind of start where you are at that base level and take it from there.
absolutely, man. And that kind of brings me to my next point with what I was going to say. Um, what can you still see
You
me?
sorry, you were breaking up. Yeah, yeah, I got you now. You
Yeah,
were breaking up.
that's because my phone was on 20%. But no, I'm good. Anyway, I was going to transition into the next topic. How do you relate that as far as your nutrition needs go? Because with you working out 5 days a week, around about 5 days a week, what do you do as far as your nutrition goes and your lifestyle goes with your eating habits? And what do you recommend for people?
Yeah, so I would say I really got dialed in on like being consistent probably about a year and a half ago, uh, where I was really figuring out, okay, how do I match up my nutrition with all this work that I'm putting in the gym. So for
Yeah.
me, personally, my goal was to move the scale. I wanted to gain weight, gain mass, and so I had to eat big. And so I kind of figured out, okay, how much. So a lot of times people, either, like in either direction, if you're trying to lose weight or gain weight, people tell you to eat less if you want to lose, eat more if you want to gain. But like, what does that actually mean, right? What do those numbers actually look like? And how can you hit that, right? So I had to do a little bit of research. So first thing I started with is I had to do a little bit of math, right? I had to
Yeah.
figure out calculations to figure out what's called my BMR. So that's pretty much your baseline. So your BMR is the amount of calories that you burn when you're pretty much not doing anything, just your body carrying out its natural processes. Uh, so from
Right. Your
that
caloric
number,
maintenance.
mhm, it allows you to figure out, okay, if I want to gain, I have to eat above that. If I want to lose, I have to eat below that. So that's the first thing I had to figure out, and how much I had to eat above that in order to actually successfully move the scale. And so the first thing I did was I actually started a food diary, right, to keep track of what it is that I'm eating, how much I'm eating. So I consider that sort of like doing a budget. Like you would do a budget for your monthly expenses. You know how much money is going out, how much money is going in. Otherwise, it's only a matter of time before you go broke, right? So I kind of treat my nutrition the same way and being able to monitor that. So I started with a food diary just to have a good understanding of what I was doing nutrition wise, what those numbers look like calorie wise, and then I slowly incorporated macros and figuring out, okay, I got my calories down now. How much protein should I be eating? Because that's the building block for your muscles. If
Right.
you want to build healthy muscle, you got to have enough protein. Okay, then I figured out how much I need for that. Then I started to look at carbs and fats, adding those things in, and it was a process, but I was successfully able to put on over 10 pounds of muscle and saw a huge difference in my lifts, in my energy levels throughout the day, how I made it through my workouts, my energy levels in the workouts, everything like that. So it definitely made a difference. But what I really shoot for is about 80% adherence, because I do like to enjoy life still. I like to go out, maybe have a drink with my friends or my girlfriend, go out to eat every now and then, but
Right.
it's not something that rules my life, right? So with my nutrition, 80% of the time, I'm on point. I'm making healthy decisions that's gonna help me see the progress that I want to see, and that 20% doesn't make or break me, right? So that's kind of how I look at it. It is my lifestyle, but I'm still able to enjoy my life at the same time too.
Oh yeah,
I
dude.
hope that answers
Okay.
your question.
Oh yeah, big time. And I think we agree on a lot of this. As far as like the 80-20 thing, I think that's definitely a good place to start. And then if there's days when it's like 70-30, again, that's not going to break the bank. Or like if you're doing really well on the weekdays, and then like you said, if you want to go out on the weekends and have pizza and ice cream or some drinks with your friends or your family or your girlfriend, I mean, I do that too, and I'm as lean as I've ever been, and I'll continue to stay that lean because I'm dialed in on my nutrition and my fitness. But it doesn't feel like I'm dialed in to my nutrition and fitness, like I'm working for it, because I'm not. It's working for me because it's a lifestyle right now. So I mainly practice intermittent fasting as well as occasionally doing prolonged fasting. And that really helps because fasting promotes muscle retention.
Hmm.
So there can be days when my nutrition is not as on as it could be or whatever, but it's like not the end of the world. Like I'll have friends that see me eating ice cream or frozen pizza and they'll be like, bro, aren't you into like fitness and nutrition? How do you eat that stuff? And I'm
Exactly.
like they're like they think I'm a hypocrite or something. And I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
obviously I'm not a hypocrite. Like you see my pictures on my Instagram, like you see what I look like without a shirt on. You see that I maintain like a very low percentage of body fat. I'm extremely lean. I hit PRs in the gym almost every single workout. Like I've found a lifestyle where I can eat like this within reason. I mean, I'm not gonna eat a whole box of
Of course.
donuts every day. Let's
Of
not be
course.
ridiculous. That's carcinogenic. Um, but I can splurge when I want to within reason. Like I could have dessert with like after a meal every day if I wanted to, and still gain muscle and lose fat. You know what I mean? But
Hmm.
that's because I have a lifestyle diet that I don't even consider a diet that works
Yep.
for me.
Yep.
And
Diets die.
yeah,
That's the root
exactly.
word of diet. It doesn't
Yeah,
last long.
yeah, big time. Um, and I personally think that, or I personally believe that fasting is the way that the human body was meant to operate. Um, in every religious belief, this is something that people did. And in the Bible, this is something that God had his armies do before battle. And all the, I would say, the biggest characters, the most important characters and people in the Bible practice fasting for a reason. Like Jesus, Moses, Daniel, they were all people that fasted for long periods of time. And they did that and they had this amazing drive, super respectable, even if you're not a Christian, which I am a Christian, I do believe what the Bible says. Um, but even if you're not, like, you still have to analyze this and be like, okay, if these were real people, why did they do this and how did it help them become successful? And there's all kinds of evidence for that, um, as well as for why fasting is the best lifestyle diet for people to use for gaining muscle and losing fat. I almost said for losing muscle and gaining fat, but that would have been very backwards. Um, but it just gets such a bad rap now because of people that do suffer from um, like bulimia or anorexia or like binge eating disorder. And that's stuff that is very important to address because, you know, for people that have those kinds of problems, maybe fasting is not for you. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Hmm.
Um, but if you tell someone like, "Hey, I fasted for 48 hours and didn't drink any water this weekend," you know, they're gonna look at you like you're crazy. They're gonna be like, "Oh, you need help." But the thing
Right.
is, bro, like that's not the case. We've been brainwashed by the food industry to think that we need to be eating like 3, 4, 5 meals a day, and that's simply not the case. The food industry is worth billions of dollars, and you have to ask yourself, bro, like, what do they care about? Do they care about your health? Like, no, they care about you eating their food and making money, man. Exactly. Walk down the breakfast food aisle in a grocery store and tell me what you see. I see like Frosted Flakes. I recently saw Jolly Ranchers cereal, man. And
I saw
people
some
eat that.
Hershey Kisses cereal the other day.
Yeah, people eat that stuff, bro, and they're like, yeah, breakfast, the most important meal of the day, which is totally BS. Like, we've been force fed this, and we just inherently believe it now without question, which is so ridiculous. Um, but I mean, if you want to eat breakfast and that's your thing, I mean, go ahead. But for me personally, and what I tell people is just go ahead and skip that because it's so ridiculous. People will think that your metabolism is going to crash if you skip
Hmm.
breakfast, which is inherently not true. Like if your metabolism crashed, you would die. Um, and I skip breakfast. You know, I haven't eaten breakfast in months. Occasionally, I'll have breakfast with like friends or family or something because it's just like convenient to go out and have brunch with friends, you know?
Yeah.
But otherwise, I fast for at least 16, 17 hours every day, and
Wow.
I stay super lean all the time. I could not stay this lean if my metabolism crashed for not eating breakfast. So that would make me an anomaly. But that's simply not the case because this happens to everyone who practices fasting, you know?
And yeah, I understand you're a coach as well too, right?
Yeah.
How long have you been coaching for?
So I recently started this online coaching um, because I wrote a book about fitness, which I'm going to release soon. Um, and I wanted to make sure that I had an audience for it because, yeah, I could just sell it to my friends and family, but like, you know, how far is that going to get? If you just
Yeah.
did health coaching for your friends and family, I mean, you would probably get a couple people, but like, how far would that go? You know?
Yeah,
So
friends and family usually support you in the beginning, and then like a year later, they almost forget that you're even doing it.
exactly. So I was like, I have to build an audience and build awareness for this. Otherwise, I wrote this whole book for nothing. So I was like, I'm gonna get started on this fitness channel. I wanted to start a YouTube channel and an Instagram, just to kind of ramble, talk about fitness, have people on like you and other fitness influencers, coaches, trainers. Um, and I just felt like it was a really good platform. And so far, I've been really successful. Um, just since I've started a couple months ago, I've gained like 700 followers on Instagram. I have about 100 subscribers on YouTube. And for those of you that have YouTube channels, you know that YouTube takes time. You know, that's not something where it grows overnight like Instagram, for example, where you can get, you know, a couple hundred followers um, every couple of weeks or whatever. On YouTube, it's a lot different because you can't cheat and get those subscribers. It's a lot different on YouTube, um, but it's something that I'm really passionate about, and I feel like I have a
Hmm.
lot to share as far as
That's
making
awesome, man.
fitness easy for people that think, like I said earlier in this video, that think, oh, like I have to go to the gym 6 days a week. I have to eat chicken and rice out of Tupperware 5 times a day. Like that's simply not the case, and I want to prove that to people.
Yeah, I definitely have a similar message myself. One of the first things I tell people is like, I know most coaches might want you to eat, the brown rice, broccoli, grilled chicken 3 times a day for 6 months, and maybe that will get you the six pack that you're looking for. It probably will work, but you got to ask yourself, is that something that's sustainable for your lifestyle? And
Right,
if you're like me and you like to eat good food, then it's probably just not, right? So
right.
you don't have to worry about force feeding yourself and following something that just doesn't simply work for you, right? It's all about, like we've been saying, it's all about that lifestyle and finding that balance. And it is possible to do that with some of the right guidance, some of the right coaching, just to kind of show you what that looks like.
Oh yeah, for sure. Um, Now, when you're coaching people, how do you usually have them start off?
So you mean like sort of what's like my onboarding process, like what that first week looks like, essentially?
Yep.
All right, so yeah, what I would do is I personally use like a fitness app that I'll have them get their workouts on. So we don't really usually start out with workouts. Um, what I'll have them do is a food recall to begin with. So I pretty much want to see what their nutrition is looking like to begin with and see what we can add to their diet. I try to look from a addition standpoint more so than a retraction standpoint as far as
Okay.
diet goes, because I know with diet culture, is always what you need to take out of your diet. So I want to focus on what we need to add. So I have them do a food recall for about the first 3 to 7 days, to see what the nutrition looks like. We'll do a fitness test just to establish their baseline and what their fitness level looks like. So I know what the overall strength looks like and endurance. And that'll give me pretty much the information that I need to really go out and build a program for them that's going to allow them to be successful. So I don't do any sort of cookie cutter or one size fits all sort of programming. All
Mm-hmm.
my programming for my clients truly is customized to their results, to their
Okay.
schedule, to their ability in the gym. And that's how I base my programs off of. So for that first week, it's really about establishing a baseline and seeing where we're starting from. Right, I meet my clients where they are, and that's what we build from.
Okay. So let me ask you this then. How does your program differ let me give you two different examples. Let's say you have two different clients. One of them wants to, let's say they're like 300 pounds and they want to lose a bunch of fat. They don't necessarily care about gaining muscle. And then let's say you have another client that is kind of skinny fat, like they aren't fat, but they also have no muscle mass, and they don't really know what they want to do. They just want to look better. What do you do for those two different people?
Well, first thing, I guess I didn't mention this before, but it's important to establish clear-cut goals, right? We have to establish what it is that we want out of this. So if I had someone who didn't know what they want, I probably wouldn't take them on as a client to begin with. But it's definitely something we can talk through, right? To get a lot of clarity on how we're going to measure success, right? And in order to do that, we have to know what the end result we want, at least on this program, right? Because we all know that the fitness journey is never ending.
Of course.
But we want to know that we're moving in the right direction. And the only way we can do that is setting clear-cut goals. And so that way we can measure incrementally our progress along the way. So let's say I did have a skinny fat person that maybe wanted to tone up. That's probably the most common goal that I hear is I just want to be more toned.
Right.
I really want to look at their history, right? What have you been doing already? Have you done a million different diets? Have you done keto 4 or 5 times? Have you done low carb diets? Have you done the Atkins diet, right? I want to know what your history looks like. Have you ever worked with a coach before? Have you been trying to work out by yourself? Do you have a sedentary job? Do you have a job where you're moving a lot? So it's really going to be a dive into what their history looks like as far as what got us to this point. And that would honestly be the same for any client, to be honest, but it's sort of our approach that would differ to how to go from A to B. Does that make sense?
Okay. For sure. For sure. Now, to get more in depth with that, yeah, again, you said you wouldn't take on a client if they didn't have like clear-cut goals. Would you help them to make goals, or would you just kind of say, hey, here's an idea of how I think you should make your goals, and then like come back to me when you have a better idea of like what you want to do? Like, how do you set them up for success?
Yeah, we definitely talk through it, and usually I call it peeling back the layers of the onion. It usually starts out with saying, everybody just wants to be healthy, everyone just wants to feel good, right? But we can't stop there because that's
Right.
not clear enough. So we really define what does health mean for you. So health could mean for one person getting off of high blood pressure medication. It could mean, dropping 20 pounds and getting to a healthy weight so that they could have a baby. I've had people that wanted to lose weight so they could get pregnant. It could mean, wanting to put on lean muscle. I had actually one of my former college teammates who nearly made the NFL that came to me. He got injured. He wanted to repair or rehab his knee. So that was the area that we would measure success by repairing the strength of his knee, as well as putting on lean muscle. So we're gonna peel back the layers of that onion and decide, what does your ideal lifestyle look like, right? What would it include? Some people want to, be able to keep up with their kids because their kids are young and they're running around and they want to play with them, but they get out of breath after 5 minutes. So it really does vary. Not all success is measured on a scale or even in a mirror, right? So it definitely does vary from person to person.
Right.
I low-key forgot your question.
I was talking about setting goals.
Okay, yeah. So,
Just going off rambling and just totally forgetting.
yeah,
Dude,
yeah,
I
yeah.
do it all the time.
Yeah, but honestly, it does look different for everybody. But the most important thing I use what's called SMART goals. So that's the framework that we use for setting goals.
Hmm.
And when we put those goals through that framework, by the time we go through, it's an acronym. So we go through each letter. And by the time we get to the end, we should have a very detailed goal. So we might start out with saying, I just want to be healthy. So we use that acronym SMART goals, which stands for specific, measurable, attainable, reasonable or relevant, and timely, right? So
Yes.
we want to set a deadline for those goals. We want to be specific. We want to make sure we can measure our success along the way. And we want to make sure it's realistic for us to get there as well too. So if somebody tells me I want to lose 100 pounds in a month, that's obviously not realistic, right? So we want to make sure it is realistic for us, and we can set reasonable timelines and goals that we can get to.
Oh, yeah, dude. So I love that. I definitely agree with you on the SMART goals. That's a principle I've used before. It's actually something I learned about in college. Um,
Hmm.
when you started using SMART goals, is that something that like you were taught to use, or is that something that you just like found through like YouTube or something, and you were like, okay, I'm going to start incorporating this with my clients?
I don't remember how I learned about it. Um, I honestly don't remember how I found it, but
Mm.
um, I think I started actually implementing it, like with my clients and stuff like that. Once I think I do remember somebody I learned about it like a long time ago, and then somebody sort of reintroduced it to me again. I was like, wait, I should have been using this the whole time, like one of those type of things.
Yeah.
And then I actually included it into the program. I think it was probably one of my past mentors that brought it back to me, and I've been using it ever since. And it's one of the pillars of my program is setting smart goals, just so we can have that clarity. So it was one of the first steps of my program actually.
Awesome, dude. Well, we've been going for about 40 minutes.
Oh
So we
wow,
can
that's kind
go
of long.
ahead. Yeah, we can go ahead and wrap it up. This has been awesome, though. Super insightful. I loved that we were able to talk about goals tonight. That wasn't something that I had originally mapped out for us to talk about, but it's not something that I've talked about before. So I'm really happy that we were able to get that out. What I'll do after this video is I will post it to my YouTube channel afterwards so that
All
more
right,
people
cool.
can watch it from there. Um, Before I cut this video off, do you have any shout outs, anything you want to promote?
Yeah, follow me on Instagram, Daryl Scales one, DARYLSCALES one. Add me on Facebook. I'm a little bit more active on Facebook. It's just Daryl Scales the second, Roman numeral two. Yeah, you can pretty much find me anywhere if you just type in my name, first and last name. The name of my coaching business is Stay Golden Fitness. So definitely want to rep that. And yeah, man, it's been a pleasure. I am
Awesome, dude.
accepting, or one last thing, I am accepting new clients started in October. So I am looking for new clients. I work primarily with healthcare professionals. So I do help healthcare professionals lose stubborn fat in 90 days without going on crash diets or spending hours in the gym. So if you're a healthcare worker, I work with nurses, doctors, dentists, hygienists, people that work in the healthcare field. So if you feel like you can use help really kickstarting your health and fitness program or health and fitness lifestyle and really need a systemized approach, I'm here to help you.
Awesome, dude. That all sounds great. Like I said, I'm going to repost this live on my Instagram and on my YouTube. Everybody go ahead and follow Daryl. If you haven't already done so, look him up on Facebook as well. I'm sure he's doing virtual coaching as well, right? Because a lot of my followers might not be in your area. Cool. Well, dude,
Yes,
feel
sir.
free to reach out anytime. I'm really happy we did this. Maybe we'll do it again someday.
Yes,
Um,
sir. Maybe I'll interview you.
awesome. Peace out.
All right, peace.